So if you've made it this far, I definitely commend you, because I'm just going to go ahead and say for my first vlog, it was all over the place. Excuse the shakiness. I just was having so much fun in New York that it was really hard to vlog sometimes, just because you're like doing so much. So that explains the absence of footage for day one. I also met V. Schwab and Lee Bardugo, but I didn't want to vlog it. It just didn't feel right. It felt kind of rude, so I didn't have like whip my camera out to do that. I carried my camera around with me all day, but when it came to like pictures with them and things like that, we used our cell phones because most of the time we were together. So yeah, I'm sorry there's not too much vlog footage for day one. Also for day two, this kind of goes into me wanting to sort of talk about BookCon and my thoughts on it. Day two was a shit show. So the first day that we got there, we had obviously already booked like meets with the authors that we wanted to meet. When the website became available, you went on there and you chose kind of like who you'd like to pick and sort of reserved a spot. Now, a lot of those sold out immediately. Sarah J. Maas sold out the second it opened, I'm assuming because VIP got first choice of who they wanted to meet, and she sold out. Even then, we had set who we would like to meet. And now when it came to the lines, there was supposed to be every 15 minutes before, that's when they would let people in. Well, on the show floor, when you first walk in, there's all the vendors, and then in the back is where you would meet the authors, normally. So it was kind of roped off for each person. There were big long tables at the front, and then each was sort of like panel style, and then you would sort of just like walk up in like a little S shape, and then you get to meet your author. Well, you weren't supposed to line up till 15 minutes before. The problem is that there were already lines for some authors way before that. And the other problem is they would sell tickets for the event and tickets to meet authors of the day of the show. So a lot of the people who already chose their authors were getting in line, like 30, 40, 50 people deep, and it would take up to 2 hours. Now that's impossible if you ever want to meet, like if you have back-to-back authors that you wanted to meet or things like that. It was just very chaotic and not done very well. There's a lot of frustration about that. I actually, after watching my friend, which you saw footage of, my best friend met Lainey Taylor, and she was in line for almost 2 hours, and it was because by the time she got to her to the meet, even though people weren't supposed to line up for 15 minutes, they were already waiting, and I wasn't having any of that. So I actually kind of lingered around Lee's little entryway, not waiting in line per se, but just kind of staying around there. And once I saw a line start to form, I went ahead and jumped in it, and I was in that pre-line for almost an hour and a half. So that kind of bugged me. They weren't strict about that at all, and I understand that people are really excited to meet people, but you have to make room for the people who are following the rules and things like that. And it got very hectic. Security was very rude at points. The line that I was in for Lee Bardugo, there was a gentleman there, and he was just yelling at everybody, and it was just really awful. And I don't know if it's because it's New York, People are a little bit more gruff in New York, but that wasn't fun. Now when it comes to day 2, all that we really wanted on day 2 was to watch Sarah's panel that she had, and those panels are downstairs and towards the back, and there was no markings, no nothing, like no go this way, and you know, they say like use the app. Well, the app map didn't load for half of us, so that was another really annoying thing. If you're gonna do something like that, like have, you know, like let people know, because I feel like you could have pre-checked everything out, see where you wanted to go, but like I said, the map didn't work for half of us, so we didn't know where we were going half the time. Now when we got down there about a half an hour before it needed to start, and it was already sold out. And I know Sarah is very popular, but once again, with that rule of you're not supposed to be here before this time, that kind of thing, like we didn't need to buy Sunday tickets. It was a complete waste. The day was wonderful. Like you saw, we got to go to like Central Park and, you know, just all around New York, and it was a lot of fun, but you know, it was definitely very, very hectic. So my final thoughts on everything is I don't think that we'll be going back to BookCon. New York was very fun. It was still an enjoyable trip because I absolutely love New York, and I was there with 2 of my best friends, and it was so much fun to me to walk around and experience the city again. The last time I went, I was, I think, about 16 years old. I went with my mom. So as an adult going, it is more enjoyable, I think, but I would definitely say like I would skip BookCon and go to Book Expo, the part that is the week of, but it's the actual week before, not the weekend. So it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think. I would definitely go to that because also with BookCon, it's more about buying books. So what you do is a lot of authors, you have to purchase the book to see them. Even if you already own it, you can't bring your own. There's a lot of like on the show floor, a lot of different vendors, but it's all about spending money. And for me, I buy books so often anyway that when I went, it was hard to find books that I still wanted. And with one author that my friend was meeting, I actually purchased her book so that I could have it signed. But like I said, I just had already spent so much money on the trip to New York, and New York is very expensive, and doing anything in New York is very expensive. So for me, it was kind of a little annoying. Like I didn't go to spend more money on books. Like I can do that at home. And if I wanted to buy autographed copies, I could. Now, the redeeming quality of BookCon was getting to meet, you know, Leigh Bardugo and getting to meet Victoria Schwab. But other than that, I don't think I'll do it again. But like I said, it was still fun. I still did have fun with my friends, so I definitely don't regret going. But if you're wondering if you want to go to BookCon, if you're into that, if you go to Book Expo America, they do a lot of like ARC copies, advanced reader copies of books, so that you can, you know, apparently they give them out like candy. Like people bring suitcases just to stick all of them in. So I'm really looking forward to that. I am going to go to that next year, but I won't be returning to BookCon. If you like spending money, if you are looking to just buy books and, you know, buy them at face value, like they were not cheap, they were all pretty expensive, and most of them were hardcover. But if you really want that, like if you really want to shop around and like see and like experience like publishers and different vendors and things like that, then BookCon is really good for that. But personally, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm just going to go to Book Expo next year because I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money. Like I spent way too much money, and that was not my goal. So with that being said though, I did want to show you guys what I picked up. I didn't get a whole lot. Like I said, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money, and I'd already spent a crap ton of money. So the first things I got when I met Leigh Bardugo is I got an ARC copy, or like a sample of The Language of Thorns, Midnight Tales and Dangerous Magic. Now this is really cool. This is probably, other than meeting the authors, the highlight of my trip. And then I also got a little card for Cookie Kingdom. It's just a little playing card, and I got a little button, but it's on my BookCon badge. This is definitely my favorite thing that I got. I'm super excited. The pages are very, very beautiful. The whole thing is just gorgeous. But so that's definitely the highlight of BookCon for me, was getting this copy. And the thing with this is you had to be like, I think she only had 50 of them to give away, and I think our line was longer than that, so it was definitely worth waiting in line for an hour and a half. She was super sweet. Victoria Schwab was also super sweet. So, and then I'm not going to show you, but I got my Six of Crows signed by Leigh Bardugo, and then I got this Savage Song signed by Victoria Schwab, obviously. And then another thing I was actually in the line for V. Schwab because when I came to my second greet, my meet and greet was with Victoria Schwab, and I didn't want to wait in her line, so she actually had a tiny little booth on the actual show floor, so my best friend and I waited in line and met her that way instead. But a girl in line gave me this. It is obviously from the Shades of Magic trilogy, and her Instagram is Magical Make Believer, so you guys should check her out if you want. I followed her. Her bookmarks are super cute. Her Instagram's super cute. But yeah, if you're interested in that. But this, I love bookmarks, so this is definitely a plus for me. And the last thing I got is actually The last thing I got is actually really funny because I didn't know that this was the 5th book in the series, so now I have to buy every single one of them. This is the book I was telling you my friend got signed for me by the author. It is Thick as Thieves by Megan Wallen Turner. I am really excited to read this series. It sounds super cool, but this is another one of those things that I had to buy to get the signature for. But it is still, like, I'm still very thankful for having it, and it also came with a giant map of the world that it takes place in, and it's like really thick paper, so it is super cool. And then my friend also bought me Snow White, the graphic novel by Matt Phelan. This is super pretty. I love graphic novels, so I'm really into this, but it's really sweet of him to grab this for me. Like I said, we all kind of ended up spending a lot of money, but this is like it's like a hefty, like, hardcore book, and I'm really excited to read it. I love retelling, so this is really great for me. And then along that same vein, I bought Mirrors and Magic by Katina French. This is a retelling of Snow White. It's like a steampunk Snow White. I did buy this. I do, if you watch one of my tags, I don't know very many indie authors. I don't even know if this is considered indie, but this is definitely an author that I've never heard of before. And it was just a woman selling books for their small publishing company. So I wanted to go ahead and grab this. It wasn't expensive by any means, it was like $10, but it is super cool, and I love steampunk, so this is really interesting to me. And like I said, I really like retellings as well, so it kind of works. And the only arc that I got is Give Me the Child by Mel McGrath. This is actually the last thing that I got at BookCon. It is about a woman who wants to have another baby but for whatever reason can't, and then a young girl comes into her life, and I believe she's pregnant, and the woman, the main character of the story, wants to take her baby from her. That's obviously what's called Give Me the Child. But I am really excited to read this. This definitely sounds like something that I would like. I don't know the genre or anything like that, but I am still obviously looking forward to reading it. I do like ARC copies of books, but I know nothing about it, but it still looks interesting, so I thought I would grab it. I am one of those people that will literally read anything at this point. I've read so many books, and I'm running out of things to read, so I think this is super cool to have. I've never really had ARC copies before either, so I think it's fun. So that is it. That's what I got at BookCon. Like I said, I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, so I don't have too many books to show you. Luckily, the authors that I met, I was able to bring my own books with me, so I didn't have to buy a whole bunch. But I more so had fun just going out and experiencing New York, and I hope you guys kind of take my thoughts with a grain of salt. I know a lot of people who went that had a ton of fun, so I think it's definitely for each person. You kind of have to decide which one you'd like to go to, which one you have more interest in. But just for me, experiencing the city was the highlight of it. I don't think that I'll be going back to BookCon. I'm not saying it was terrible. I don't regret going, but in hindsight, I definitely want to experience Book Expo. Since I've already experienced BookCon, I want to experience that instead, and I'll be going to that next year. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below if you went to BookCon and what you thought of it, or if you went to Book Expo and if you think that that sounds more like something that I would want to do. I hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!